Hello, everybody. Diamond Dust here, and I think we've had enough time before I drop this video that we could discuss the book that's come out from Artal Games called Tales of the Red, Hope Reborn. Tales of the Red, Hope Reborn, compared to Tales of the Red Street Stories, is actually a full-length street-level. What this means is that the campaign stays fairly grounded compared to dealing with big things like fighting heads of corporations or just great overwhelming powers that be. Tales of Red, Hope Reborn is simply reopening a bar that had been burnt down. Long and short of it. However, this is a sequel to a rather important book from Cyberpunk 2020 called Tales of the Forlorn Hope. And here in Hope Reborn, for those of you guys who may have played Tales from the Forlorn Hope, you'll meet some familiar faces. For those of you guys who may have not used the Forlorn Hope before, this place, it's a place where many edge runners go to hang their hat. Hell, even in the opening paragraphs about this, the trope about meeting a mysterious stranger in a bar and receiving an epic quest, it appears in so many other fantasy games, and like you all meet in a tavern. In this case, the Forlorn Hope is that tavern. It is a legendary solo bar, and what happens during this all matters by player choice. And with Hope Reborn, we're talking about the rebuilding of the Forlorn Hope. So for starts, I'm going to throw out there will be spoilers, but there won't be a lot of spoilers. I will talk about the story very lightly, just enough that you guys can get an idea of what you guys are going to be looking at for each different parts of the adventure. But I would like to first start off with an introductory tale written by the Tales from the Forlorn Hope author Will Moss. Tale of Hope, which follows a multimedia named Rory as she goes to check out what looks like a crash site. And there's a little bit of conflict that goes on that leads to her ending up in a spot that she has to be rescued by mysterious strangers. These strangers happen to be some familiar faces from the Forlorn Hope. Along with that, you also meet Marianne Freeman, one of the proprietors of the Forlorn Hope, alongside her husband John. And it gives you a good idea of what's here before we jump into the meat and potatoes of the adventure. I would highly recommend, if you get this book, read Tale of Hope before you start the adventure. Now, with that in mind, I would like to jump in and put out that I am first off very happy with the timeline that they show what happened with the Forlorn Hope between, all the way from like 2011 all the way 11, I think, yeah, 2011. I have the book pulled up here, all the way up to 2045. And we get to see how the Forlorn Hope grows. And in comparison to the events of other adventures, even though there isn't like a strong continuity of where everything happens, it seems Hope Reborn happens after the events of Valeria 2045, and could possibly happen after the events of Agents of Desire and Reaping the Reaper from and which the Reaping the Reaper storyline, which includes just burning it down and Don't Fear the Reaper, because those are 2 times when you do encounter the Forlorn Hope in Street Stories. And also there's hat tips to other previous adventures as well, such as staying vigilant. Given this is only a 6-mission campaign compared to the 9 missions you get in Hope Reborn, or in Street Stories. Sorry, Street Stories. Hope Reborn has 6 missions, but these 6 missions are much more robust compared to that of Street Stories. Street Stories is 9 individual missions, technically 8 because the last 2 can gel together. The 6 in here are just as packed. And you might be wondering, okay, but how much of this book is just appendix and notes? The appendix goes from what looks like page 177 to 191. So of the 191 pages that are in here, because A Tale of Hope, I would consider this important for the party to also get a look at, because I think it would be a great primer for going into this adventure. Especially that way you have an idea of who folks like Rory, Petra, and some of the other folks are that you meet at the Hope. And GMs could even, build your campaign into Forlorn Hope as long as you don't get far ahead, as this campaign is designed to be able to start with fresh characters. We start off with the Angel Share, which takes you to a very simple mission. You go out, you do the job, you get paid. It's an easy go scare off some wannabe brain dance artist, and that should be the end of it. And you go back to the Forlorn Hope over in Little China and should get paid. However, like any good cyberpunk story, it starts off with a boom. And in this case, you'll be seeing what happens to the Forlorn Hope when, well, it comes tumbling down. And it's up to you to make choices that will impact the future of Forlorn Hope. Whether it be, who you save or what you should do when you approach the emergency at hand. And it also introduces the clock mechanic where you have limited time to make choices. And which I think is really good, so that way players don't get stuck with being frozen up. Now, with the Angel Share, save everyone, or save as many people as you can. You get out, and you are offered to help bring back the Forlorn Hope, and bring it back better than ever, which... honestly, Hope Reborn, it works in the name. Now, of course, you can walk away, and that's the end of the campaign. Why would you do that, though? Stick to it. Then, of course, you have the next chapter, which is Real Estate Rumble, where you meet Seth Skorkowski's stand-in, Jack Skorkowski, who learned a thing or two from Scott Brown back in the 2020s. Now, if you don't understand that reference, please go look up the Scott Brown incident and then come back to this video. Okay? I want you to go support Seth. Or stick around and then go watch the Scott Brown incident. It's not relevant, but it's funny. Just in case you need a little laughter. The Real Estate Rumble, you are helping, Jack Skorkowski by checking on his properties, which it shouldn't be that hard. However, I'll just say there's some funny business going on. And I'll let you figure out how that works. And keep an eye out for the subliminal clues out there. It'll be useful. And while you're checking on the properties, Jack goes out to find a location for the Hope. And that leads, and just to clarify, the Angel Share was done by Eddie Webb, and Real Estate Rumble was done by Tracy Hearn and Paris Aerosmith, if I remember correctly. Yes. And then Linda Evans, also known as Dreader Cup, picks up the baton and takes you on a mission that I feel us GMs, this would be a really good thing to look at, is like a gig hub where you, the party, are sent by Marianne to go check out this neighborhood. Stay out there for a little while, see what the neighborhood is like. Know, who's who, who's the right people to ally with, and, well, you are given a series of 5 different gigs that happen throughout Welcome to the Neighborhood. And then it ends off with you reporting to Marianne. A given could make some decisions in here that just totally end the campaign, or might cause some serious consequences later down the road if you decide to continue the campaign. And the thing with Welcome to the Neighborhood, while there are 5 little gigs in here, or jobs, the gig itself is being out there for the month. So what we see here is, instead of gaining IP for every little job that you do, you get IP for completing the major task at hand, which honestly, I kind of like that approach. That way it allows for a little bit more natural development in other cases, instead of getting a little IP for just doing one little job. But that's neither here nor there on how GMs want to run their games, but it's recommended. Then, next, of course, we go to Melissa Wong's mission called The Devil's Cut, which this is the first time Artal has presented us with a heist. Which, The Devil's Cut, you are helping Marianne and an old friend of hers known as Harry the Shrimp, which, if you meet Harry, she is lovely. Fantastic. You will be basically learning how to pull off a heist. Basically using as few bullets as possible to get the job done. And you get to get one over on an executive. Honestly, I'm not going to talk too much into it, but it is a very sandboxy. And there are beat charts that show like all the different steps that go on during each of these missions. The Devil's Cut is a bit complex in the sense of what you need to do, but it only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. But each step is very, very sandboxy. So it's not really down to going from step to step. It is, you build the plan. And they also introduce a mechanic called a Flash of Luck in here. Well, when we were doing the playtest. That's also going to be included in the appendix, which a Flash of Luck is really, really good for when you're doing a heist. That way you aren't sitting around and planning for sessions on end, which I personally think is a really, really good move. And I think Melissa Wong delivered really well on running a heist. Think very much like Ocean's 11 or Leverage. You'll kind of get what I'm looking at here. And of course, once you've got the place, you got the booze, which the Devil's Cut, I mean, it has to do with getting some booze. But I won't talk about what kind of boozer. You're gonna love it. We go to the next mission, Hope's Calling. Hope's Calling is very much, you are getting hired to do a very, very simple job. Because, like what they post in here, and I'll just read this for you because I like how well they put it in context. Everything is right, and it's only gonna be a little quip. Everything is riding on tonight going right. The Hope's reputation, the revenue, your street cred, and their return. What could possibly go wrong? And in all caps, with a period after every word, every fucking thing. And you guys are getting hired to help Marianne make sure that the party for opening night goes smoothly. And you're also introduced to mass combat in this one. I'm not going to explain how you get to mass combat. But this mission seems to really make you have to decide what you need to prioritize or how you need to make things happen. So, could work together to get all the different little tasks done. But there is a clock in this mission as well. And it's not so much by the round, it's by the hour. You have from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. to get everything done. And all the choices you make during this mission will have some really good or really bad consequences, depending on how things go. So, keep your eyes peeled and use your resources. Do a really good job of, taking care of priorities. Maybe, something's a little bit further away. Send the Nomad and, someone else with the Nomad to go deal with, something a little bit further away. Something requires a little bit more of the social touch. Send the Fixer or the Rocker Boy. And, sometimes maybe you just need something fixed. Have the tech help. It does a really, really good job of giving all the party members a chance to shine. And then finally, with Hope's Calling, this can either end the campaign or allow you to get to a 6th mission. The 6th mission, all I will say... also, I am so sorry, but Chris Spivey wrote Hope's Calling and did a really, really good job of putting this one together. It is a very climactic, quote unquote finale for like the main for the main storyline, but managed to get it together and you complete Hope's Calling and everything goes right on opening night. One last mission becomes available. I will give you the name and a very, very slight glance. It's called Ripping the Ripper, and get a couple options. You either can pull off a really, really good con, or you go for a good old-fashioned hunt. And that's as far as I'm going to go on that one. It's deadly. It's lethal. And better hope you are ready at every turn. So, with that in mind, my thoughts on Hope Reborn. I think this is a really, really good introductory campaign for any new players in Cyberpunk. It really sets a good pace for what you're going to be doing, and it's a good jumping. It's a really good, diving board for you to jump off of to get on with a greater campaign after this. And when I mean greater campaign, I'm not saying that this is bad. I'm saying a much further reaching campaign after you gotten your sea legs, if you will. Got an idea what you're doing. However, I think this is good for every table. It is a good grasp of what the street is and being able to face that like adrenaline that you don't quite get from dealing with corporates or fighting with armies. It's very much, everything is personal. They make it very personal for you at every turn. And I love that. So I think it's worth the money. And the artwork throughout the book, they did a very good job. There was a couple of pieces in there that, like, for me, it didn't quite stick. But all the art pieces appear to be looking through the view of someone. And it might just feel like the point of view of someone different every time. And also, the way that they brought all the jobs together and made it so that way the choices that you made on previous jobs really, really works. I think it works out to be a really, really fluid campaign. No two groups are probably going to have the same result unless somehow they manage to pull off all the same decisions. Because even though there is the major plot of rebuilding Forlorn Hope, they even did a good job to sprinkle in some subplots as well. And they made sure that you had plenty of downtime, so you might be off doing something else in between other chapters of Hope Reborn. It works as a really good spot to introduce players to the world at a street level, and GMs, it seems to require only a little planning on your end, kind of figure out like, okay, these decisions were made, what do I need to do, how does the script run? And all in all, I think that if you play through Hope Reborn, you're probably going to want to play through it again and maybe try a different role if you so wish. It would be kind of surprising how it feels playing different roles when I've played it with my test group. With that in mind, I would say for $40 for the print copy, $20 for PDF, this would be honestly a very solid first investment. I would even put it ahead of Black Chrome. I would put Hope Reborn ahead of Black Chrome or Danger Gal Dossier as that second book to purchase. As much as I am a fan of street stories, Hope Reborn is a great introductory story for those that want to jump in. Especially if maybe you were coming from the Edgerunners mission kit, and especially for netrunners who, you know, you don't have quick hacks in Hope Reborn. You do have a lot of net running. There is a lot of net running for you. And plus, netrunners, there's an Easter egg in there. Pay attention, you might see it. So, Artal, you guys knocked this one out of the park. And I think that's going to be it for me today, folks. Of course, as always, come check me out on Twitch. And I hope to see you guys around the table, as the Hope Reborn will become one of the things that opens up on Start Playing for me. Till then, bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.